Namaskaram, my dear friends, I'm back again. Today I'm going to talk about why it's been so easy to be devoted to Sadhguru. And it brings me straight to the story of Meerabai. I think with stories and how it transfers from generation to generation through word of mouth, through energy form, there's probably going to be a little bit of differences in the details of the story. But how I have received the story of Meerabai was that she was a Krishna devotee, and how she fell in love with him was through a statue that a saint have had and was carrying around him while he was walking from town to town. Meera set eyes on the statue, right away fell in love, and that was the beginning of the love story between her and Krishna. More so like one-sided in our perception, because we see all the activities of Meera because it is more physical in nature, and Krishna's love towards her is more in the subtle aspects, but very evident and very pervading. And just reflecting on Meera's life, like, my gosh, what a wonderful way to live, having so much certainty with all your being that the one you love, the God you love, is forever present. Does that make sense? I mean, I think that would be the only logical way. Like, she sensed something, and right away she was drawn to it, and she couldn't escape the presence of Krishna that was within her, around her, everywhere for her. And for Meera, it's Krishna, and for me, it's Sadhguruji. I think how I fell into it is a process too. Slowly I'm drawn into it, slowly just testimonies and people's words and just what I see around the world clarify things for me. There's some videos from a channel where it features Humans of Isha, and such a wonderful channel, where testimonies of people who've encountered Sadhguru, his works, his miracles that he performs, just amazing. There's a lot of stories, but some of the few that really touched me was when Sadhguru stopped the venom of a venomous snake from killing a Swami, when there was like a trek going on and a lot of participants went on trekking up the Virangili hills. Don't butcher me. But the hills at Isha Yoga Center. And one of the Swamis got bitten by a viper, and we all know, well, not that we all know, but vipers' venom would kill someone within 30 minutes. And Sadhguru was in the States, and this happened in India, and he suddenly called volunteers like, oh, is someone bitten by a snake, bitten by a snake? And Sadhguru's informed, yes, in fact, there is a Swami bitten by a snake. And Sadhguru said, just tell them it's okay. I have stopped the venom, just take him to the hospital. And the hospital even testified like, this person would have died. This person should have been dead. This is a miracle in the medical field for someone to live after being bitten by a viper. Another story was 2 Mas, where they were trying to make BSP happen back in the day. And you know, there's still a lot of organization that has to happen because Isha then was not as systematic and as organized as it is today. And Sadhguru felt really sick, so these 2 Mas had to figure out how to run BSP. And one of the Ma mentioned that when she was eating sambar, she could smell vibhuti, like vibhuti was poured on the soup. And she didn't mind it, but then, you know, there were a lot of signs that there's an intense smell of vibhuti, and she finally shared the story with another Ma, and the other Ma also recognized this. And that's when they realized, like, in Sadhguru's absence, he is still very present. And it became really evident in how the BSP program unfolded and actually still happened even without Sadhguru's physical presence. Amazing. Another wonderful testimony too was from a girl from Isha Samskriti, where she was young and she received a news that her mother had died, and she was really heartbroken because her mother was the closest relative she had. And she finally decided to write a letter to Sadhguru saying how heartbroken she was. And Sadhguru came to her, reassured her that don't worry, I am here for you. I'll be your father, I'll be your mother, I'll be your family. I'll take care of you, don't worry. And that reassurance allowed for her to be at ease and continue with life with so much certainty that Sadhguru has her. Sadhguru has her. Another story too, when Sadhguru was speaking and having his discourse and just suddenly stopped, started crying, and felt really emotional about something. And when he finally put his emotions together and explained, he said Jagdish didn't eat for that day. And in my understanding, Jagdish was on a mission. I can't remember the term, but it's like going out, getting alms, and just like roaming around the world with nothing but the clothes you have. And though Jagdish was somewhere out there, Sadhguru felt the sorrow Jagdish had of not having food for that day, and he himself wept and was sorrowful and in pain. And like with my own two eyes, what I observe and what I see, all the programs that Sadhguru has created for the betterment of humanity, and it's not just one. These programs have transformed, evolved into what the world needs right now. And I know it's going to continue evolving into what the world needs in the future. Like reforestation programs, feeding programs, mental health initiatives, saving our soil, building wonderful, wonderful temples. And like at closer view, when I saw Sadhguru in Nepal, and maybe just a minute or two, he was close to us. He was around like 2 feet away from me. He didn't say much. He just had his smile and his casual talk of, casual conversations of banter, and all we could do was just stare at him in awe. And just recalling that moment, like, it makes me want to cry, because even without any words, all of him is for me, is for us. Catered to every individual, catered to every single one of us. And that moment still sticks to me of how powerful his presence can be. And now I kind of understand what he means by his initiation process. The initiation process of every individual is tailored, is custom fit for that individual. And he may be miles away, somewhere out there. And the initiation I had was online. But the feelings I felt during my Shambhavi initiation was raw and sincere. I felt it. It shook my spine. I can still remember the sensation, like my spine electrocuted from the base all the way up. It was such a wonderful feeling, so overwhelming. I just had to cry. I didn't know how else to express it. I just had to cry. And looking back, like, oh my God, despite the distance, despite what we may think as barriers in technology, Sadhguru made it happen for me. Sadhguru made it happen for me. And in my daily life, like, I have daily struggles. Oh my God, I know I complain too much, but yes, my daily struggles in my relationships, in my transactions. And when I'm overwhelmed and challenged by life situations, I used to call out different deities before and have someone help me. And lately I've been calling on Sadhguru more often than not. And there's just more ease, more certainty that I really don't know what's gonna happen, but I know it's gonna be taken care of. It's all gonna work out. That much certainty. Because it has happened more often than not. Things just go smoothly. Everything just happens. Everything's just in place. One story I had recently. I'm trying to get a house right now that's close to work, so I had to find an agent that could help me find the house. And I didn't necessarily vibe with my agent. I really felt like my concerns were not heard. I had so much question because I don't know, the process of getting a house is very complicated and it involves a lot of resources, and I didn't want to make the wrong step. And the agent that I had, I felt like didn't really address or answer most of my questions. I really felt rushed. I really felt like I was just rushed into getting something or buying a house and property that I really don't know much about, of, if it's the right fit or the right value, the right price in the current market. I just didn't know. But came a point where I was just really tired. I'm like, you know what? I just really need a house. I found a house that I like. I don't want to really have to interact with the agent. And I told myself, you know what? Whatever the price is, whatever the rate is, whatever he says, if I don't see a major red flag, I'm just gonna sign the contract and get the house, because I really need to get a house sooner rather than later. And so I had the energy to actually go through the contract, and I found something that didn't feel right to me. So I had to talk to the agent and ask like, oh, how come this is that? And you never told me. I signed an initial contract to this brokerage and now it has changed. And you know, how come you didn't tell me that was important to me? Because the contract that I signed initially has now changed. And so he gave me an explanation, blah, 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 blah. And I really didn't want to disappoint the agent because he has already put so much effort. His team has already put so much effort in helping me get a house, etc., etc. And so I really didn't know how to respond. But somehow he said, okay, that's fine. I'll refer you to the brokerage that I was working with before and maybe they could help sort things out. And I said, yes, please. And to my relief, like I was released from that agent and I was reassigned to a wonderful agent right now who have answered all my questions, who have addressed all of my concerns effortlessly. And you know, to some, this story may seem so petty, yet it has troubled me for the past few days. And I called out to Sadhguru, and I just did my part, and somehow everything fell into place. And that's just another witnessing of Sadhguru's presence and Sadhguru's grace, you know? When you call out to Sadhguru, he's always gonna be there. There's nothing so mundane or too big for Sadhguru. He is going to be there when you actually really, really need him. When you actually need his presence to settle uncertainty within you, within your environment, within this world, Sadhguru is going to be there. It has happened more often than not that Sadhguru just made things happen for me. That's why I look back and think about Meera. The certainty Meera had with Krishna is the same certainty I have with Sadhguruji, which is why it has become easier for me to lay my life down for Sadhguruji. Namaskaram. So yes, you guys, I have just poured a lot of my raw emotions and shared it with you all. But this is what I have been experiencing and like reflecting on and realized this past few days. Like, my God, Sadhguru's presence is intense. If you see it, and it is so hard to miss, how Sadhguru's presence is ever, ever, ever so strong and pervading. May you be graced with his presence, and may Sadhguru take you wherever you may need to go. Namaskaram. So yes, you guys, until next time, bye.